Welcome to Sketchbook Podcast, a discussion about inspiration and process with artists, creators, and designers. I'm your host, Daniel Montoya Jr. Cliff Crooms, Jesse Jackson, Kim Kardashian, Lois Lane, Marilyn Monroe, Ronald Reagan, Ryan Reynolds. All famous alliterative names. But arguably the most famous, nay, infamous, is one Paul Pape. And no, this Paul Pape is not the judge of Bastrop County. I first saw Paul Pape in the Longhorn Band Hall on the campus of the University of Texas at Austin in January of 1995. We had both advanced to the area round of the TMEA All-State audition process. Percussion was our weapon of choice. And at that time, if my memory recall is correct, Paul Pape had yellow spiky hair and was probably wearing something skater boy-like, with no doubt a wallet connected to a chain that was connected to his oversized Jinko jeans. For those curious, Paul Pape advanced to the All-State Band, and your hero did not. Flash forward a year later to the spring of 1996. In the band hall of then Southwest Texas State University, auditions were taking place for the drumline for the most dangerous band in the South, the Bobcat Marching Band. Grr. While most of my memories are hazy, I do remember a few things. Number one, I did not know what an inverted flam tap was. Number two, my coolest lick was an open stroke roll, which started slowly and accelerated to my fastest playable tempo and then slowed down again. Number three, Jason Scott Russell burst through the door, pouncing and screaming like a dinosaur, a velociraptor we would later come to find out his signature move. And number four, upon everyone standing up and introducing themselves, Paul Pape stood up and said, "I like drums." Paul Pape might be one of my oldest friends, and is definitely the closest when you take actual physical proximity into account. He's worked at such illustrious places, such as Quicks, Tortuga, and Hot Wing Willie's, just to name a few. And whenever the SWT buses drove through San Antonio, one could always count on Paul Pape to yell out, "It's shirts!" every time we passed by. Paul Pape, what is Quad Groove, and why am I not an official member yet?
Thank you for the lovely introduction. Quick correction, no Jinko jeans.
No Jinko jeans?
Not one pair.
Was your hair yellow?
Very yellow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was worried it was blue, but it was yellow.
Might have been. Might have been at the time.
Yes.
Quad Groove is a illustrious group of friends. Tight-knit friends that all happen to live in the same place at the same time.
Oh, yes.
Until an early demise by one member.
Wait, what place was this called? Did you have a name for this place?
ROV.
What does that stand for?
River Oaks Villas.
In San Marvelous, Texas.
Villas, I suppose. Yeah.
If you're nasty, yeah.
Sure. Me and Ryan Cerna.
Mm-hmm. Grapevine
Cerna, and Juan Carlos Carrera.
We can say it on Fuji.
Yeah,
yes,
Fuji,
that's his
exactly.
nickname. Yes, it's not.
And
offensive.
the late great Libanez.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know if we were going to. Wow, already.
Well,
3 minutes in.
That's you asked who. Yeah,
it's a statistical fact. Yeah. And so the second part of the question is, why am I not an official member yet? Because I didn't live there.
This is a question that you've asked many times
for like the last 15 years.
Sure, I still have no good answer.
Yeah, I'm sure Rod would be the next one in. I understand I'm number 2 on the list. Maybe number 3 after Ryan Fogarty Fogue and Rod Eric Roderick.
It is a long and growing
Herrera.
list.
But I'm 3 at worst, I think. Paul, did you happen to see the new Ghostbusters movie trailer that released yesterday?
No, I don't really think I'm interested.
I think you might be. I know the all-female version probably ruined it for you. And let's be real, it was awful. Not because it was female-led, but because the story sucked. But this is directed and written by Jason Reitman, son of Ivan Reitman, who directed the first one. No?
Nah, you leave a good thing alone.
Oh,
That's leave a good thing alone.
Wow, I expected more out of you.
All the Karate Kids were bad.
All of them? Except for the first one?
Except for the first one. Well, no, the second one was pretty good.
Still sad. Okay, speaking of these, I would like you to rank these movies.
Okay.
Using whatever criteria you want. Favorite, best, whatever. Ghostbusters, The Karate Kid, and The Goonies.
Oh, well, Goonies, distant first place.
Distant first.
Just easy, yeah.
Yeah, it's our last Goonies summer.
Yeah, I still have it memorized. All of it, top to bottom.
Okay.
Ghostbusters.
Oh, number 2. Okay. I thought Ghostbusters would be number 1, but all right.
No, Goonies is, I'm a lifer.
A lifer. Goonies never say die, right?
Goonies never say die.
Yeah,
very
that's
true.
right. That's
Very
right.
true. No Goonies Part 2 either. I want to remind
with Fat Sean Astin. Like, how embarrassing. But he'd be Chunk at that point, right?
He would be Chunk, yeah.
And Karate Kid's a poor, shameful, distant third.
It's it's good, but it doesn't, it pales in comparison.
You weren't a skinny ethnic kid with brown hair growing up in the 80s like I was. So
No, I was a short, fat white kid.
Oh, like Chunk from
Chunk,
the Goonies.
Yeah, with the worst mullet.
Paul Pape, finish this sentence. Go.
Spurs go.
I would also have accepted Buffs. Go Buffs.
Go
or
Buffs.
Go Spurs go.
Yeah.
Both of those are very good and accepted. Do we want to pour one out for the Spurs right now or what?
We're pulling for 8th place. 8th place in the playoffs. There's still hope.
There's
it's
hope.
not over yet, but I don't have good feelings.
It doesn't look good right now.
No, it looks really bad. I don't know what to do with myself. I watch half as much basketball. It's a very sad day.
Are you a fan of the LeBron Lakers right now? I know you're a big LeBron fan.
As an avid Spurs fan, I'm contractually required to hate the Lakers.
Right.
And I do.
Yes, I understand. I hate the Lakers. I hate the Heat. Really, I mean, they got their revenge, but that Ray Allen three-pointer is still a knife in the side. Not good. New subject. Hey, Paul Pape, you attended Samuel Clemens High School.
Go Buffs.
And graduated in 1995.
I did.
Why percussion?
Okay, no, it's a good question.
It is. Thank you.
In 5th grade, when there were band auditions
FIF,
at J. Frank Dobie Intermediate School.
Oh my God, I'm surprised they didn't name one like Mark Twain Middle School and then Samuel Clemens. Anyway,
J. Frank Dobie's a pen name, I think.
Is it really? Oh,
I think it's a pen name of Mark Twain.
Is Byron Steele a pen name also?
Byron Steele was the superintendent.
Wow.
I was in band with this kid. It's the only reason I know that. That's true.
I don't
Could
know
be.
that.
I hope I'm right about that pen name thing.
Oh man, there's a lot of Texas band nerds that are gonna write in and go, no wonder he doesn't teach anymore. We'll get to that later. So 5th grade, Dobie Middle School or intermediate.
I was in on-campus suspension for doing something wrong.
For skateboarding.
In Miss Dahman's 5th grade class.
The memory on you.
Yeah, I was in the office, so my desk was right next to the principal's office during the time that they were doing band auditions. I was dead set on saxophone, alto saxophone. I knew it years ahead of time. That
like
was
Juan
going to
Carrera,
be
yeah.
like Juan Carrera.
Yeah,
I was definitely going to be a saxophone player. Mm-hmm. I went to the band hall. I was the last kid to go in 5th grade, and I said I want to play saxophone, and they said, it's all filled. You can play drums if you want. Mr. Philippus, Mr. Bryson, doesn't matter, had me do a paradiddle with my fingers on the table, and I made it. I made the cut. Me and 2 other people made the cut. So all 3 of us.
There were only 3 in your 6th grade class?
Yeah, Justine Gonzalez and Sean Reno.
Why, do they still play drums anymore?
No, not that I'm aware of. I haven't spoken to either one of them in quite a while.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in the mean streets of Schertz, Texas?
Oh, that's interesting. Not boring. I guess boring. San Antonio's kind of...
Well, Schertz isn't San Antonio.
No, it's the
the rich suburb.
It's the Cedar Park. No, it was not rich. Not rich then. It was actually. I mean, it was way nicer than where I was actually living in San Antonio before we moved there.
Oh,
but it felt very country. It felt like it was in the middle of nowhere.
So you're saying it's the Cedar Park of San Antonio? Is that what you're gonna say?
It's more like the
Leander.
Like the Pflugerville, I guess.
Oh,
yeah,
weird,
that kind of thing.
Quirky.
But it was a small 4A back when 4As were...
That's right, which is now the new 5A.
Yeah, so the graduating class is pretty small. There was a bunch of racial tension, tons and tons of drugs.
No.
Lots of boredom.
Yeah,
basically bored kids with nothing to do, so they...
Yeah, sure. I remember Schertz and Selma because those used to be huge speed traps on the way to and from San Antonio.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. You were a skater, right?
No.
A baller? Shot caller?
That was none of those things.
Wait, what did you do growing up?
I rode lots and lots of bikes. I was BMX stuff.
Like the movie Rad?
Like the movie Rad. Had a bunch of ramps and broke lots of things doing that.
How many bones did you break BMX biking?
Ooh. 5 or 6, probably. Lots in the hand and a couple of collarbones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my head.
So you wouldn't call yourself a successful or good BMX biker?
I think I was decent. You
Could have gone pro?
No. Far from that. But I spent a lot of time doing it.
Did you have a Tony Hawk poster? Was he around back then?
Yeah, but he's a skateboard guy. So I had like a Matt Hoffman poster.
Sure. Okay, that sounds about right. To my dying day, you'll always be a skater.
I know.
Probably because of the dyed hair. I just assumed skater boys with an eye all dye their hair yellow or blue or whatever.
Yes, that
Did you have blue tips in 95?
I had blue hair.
Okay.
So I had a more interesting podcast is my haircuts during high school. We should just focus on that. It went from full-blown mullet. I've got great pictures. And then it went to, I guess, a spiky, a butt cut kind of bangs thing.
I feel like I've seen a picture of that.
Yeah, that's a good
Is that what's
one.
on your driver's license back in the day?
I think that's actually my senior picture might be that. But then I went through, and then it got cut, and it was blonde, and then towards the end of that year, it was blue,
okay.
very
I feel like
blue.
there was yellow-blue mixture. So.
Yeah.
Your last tweet was on September 22nd, 2018. And it read simply...
More recent than I thought.
Yeah. Helping friends register to vote. How'd that go for you?
Probably poorly, I guess. I'm not sure how many people registered to vote because of my one tweet with my 7 followers or whatever it is. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I participate in social media in the sense that I read lots of Twitter.
A voyeur, if you will.
Yes, a voyeur. I do
watcher.
not. I do not. Yeah,
that's fine.
But it seemed like a noble thing to do,
Yes, it obviously helped with the midterms if you were of a certain persuasion. Or did not help if you are of a certain persuasion.
We don't like to talk about those people.
No, we don't do. Everyone. Hey, in the words of Michael Jordan, even Republicans buy shoes. Something like that.
Yeah,
something
said.
that.
Yeah,
he said something.
He did say something like that.
Yeah. All right, here we go. You graduated from fair old S-Dub, Southwest Texas State University, in 2001. That's almost 20 years ago.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, I guess. That's rough.
We used to be the cool kids. Remember?
Oh, are we not still?
We're the cool kids with a Z.
That's already uncool.
It is. Well, at least we're not boomers, as the kids say.
That's true.
I don't know. I think anybody can be a boomer if you're older than the person calling you a boomer, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh,
I guess
God.
so.
Oh, geez. So, why SWT?
Man, I did not put a lot of thought into that decision at all.
It was just down the street?
It was literally down the street. I like playing drums.
As you said multiple times.
That was going pretty well.
You made All-State?
I heard UNT was a good place to do that. I figured I would get buried quickly there and didn't know anything about it at all, other than there was a lot of percussionists. The real reason I went is because my sister was going there and she was going to get an apartment and I could live in her apartment instead of the dorm room. That was literally the whole reason I went.
But you were quote unquote commuting because your house was 60 miles or less from San Marcos, right?
Yeah.
That's what I did too. I commuted.
Sure. Back
in the day. What's your sister's name? Is she alliterative also?
No. She got the cool name, Trista Janine de la Cruz now.
What? Oh my!
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Trista Janine.
Once you go brown, you never frown.
I guess that's what they say.
But your mom is Patty Pape, right?
Patricia Pape, yeah.
Patricia Pape.
Patty May Pape.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Why music?
That's a good question too. I always liked it. I always liked. It was just something I was, I guess, around. It seemed like a good idea. My sister was in band. It was something that I guess I just liked. I was drawn to it for some reason. I'm not sure why I was drawn to the saxophone.
Yeah, that's weird. Why is anybody drawn to that? When you could have played drums.
Yeah, well, luckily I was in on-campus suspension, so it worked out.
Yeah, bad boy from the start. What are some of your favorite G to PG-13 memories from your time at SWT?
Made a lot of good friends. It was an instant commute. I finally was around a bunch of people like myself, which was nice. It was nice going to the first, skaters. It was actually, I was the weird one in that regard. But going to the first drumline camp, we used to do them back in May. Did we do that year as well?
We did it earlier because that was a PASIC year.
Got it.
Because back in the day, every other year, they would start like in January or something.
Yeah,
or maybe it was March. It was March because I remember it was after Soul and Ensemble, which at the time was February, March. So yeah, but anyway, continue.
But it was nice. It was a bunch of people with the same interests, and going to college is always exciting. I think that kind of tied into the excitement of it. So really, it's just a lot of camaraderie. I mean, it's still most of my friends to this day, yourself included, are from that,
That's
are
nice
from
of you
that
to
group.
say.
It was really nice. Yeah.
Not all of us are in quad group, though.
No. I mean, you're certainly not.
Thank you for rubbing salt in that wound. Who were some of your most influential mentors, teachers, or influencers from your time at SWT? And by influencer, I don't mean like Instagram influencer. Somebody who influenced you, inspired you.
Probably number one on the list would be the group. We spent a lot of time. I think that was the best thing about it. From a business education standpoint, that was the main thing, was just having discussions and everybody getting out to teaching and talking. All of that was great. From the staff there, Stansberry was a huge influence for sure. Just a lot of passion. If he was doing it technically well or not, it didn't really matter to me. It seemed good to me. I really enjoyed being in his ensemble, and I learned a lot by watching him. Hudson was another one of those. He just knew how to kind of rally the troops, which I thought was good.
Yeah. Right on. You most recently ran the Turkey Trot.
I did.
You've run half marathons, full marathons, everything in between, right? How many have you won, and how many world records have you set?
All of both categories. I've won every race, and I currently hold the world record for the Austin Turkey Trot marathon best time.
What outfit did you wear at the Turkey Trot? Can't you dress up in uniforms?
Full birthday suit.
You were there's no cheaper or best costume other than that.
Very freeing.
Yeah. Why running?
I don't. Well, I mean, I know how I started. I don't know why. I've been doing it for a long time. I guess put together that I like doing it after about 5 or 6 years of actually running. It's nice. It's good alone time. I listen to a good album or a good podcast.
Yes.
And it's good. It's good. I like having goals. And
What's the next race you're going to run?
The half marathon in January, but then I'm actually going to do reluctantly the full marathon.
Wow.
In Austin, yeah.
Holy smokes. Well, good luck to you. I will be cheering you on from the bed.
Yeah.
Or the couch.
Come to the finish line. We'll have a beer.
I don't like beer.
Yeah, have one for me.
Oh. What's that beer I tried that I like?
It's called Sippin' Pretty. It's pink. It's very pink and effervescent. And
Sippin' Pretty.
That's exactly what it's called.
God, it actually is called that.
Yeah.
It's a what now? What kind of? It's a special kind of beer.
It's like a fruity sour saison kind of thing. Yeah, not very sour, but yeah.
Great.
Yeah, you didn't drink much of it, by the way. We threw most of that away.
Wow. At least I drank more than one sip. I didn't make any ugly face when I drank it. So.
No, you were sipping pretty.
Thank you. Paul Pape, your first real job was at Georgetown Middle School and High School from 2002 to 2008. What were your roles and duties during your time in the town of George?
The town of George. I was a assistant middle school band director at Benold Middle School.
Benold Middle School, yes.
My first year. And I was hired to be that guy and then also split the battery with the percussion director at the high school.
Who was that at that time?
I was going to do the battery. That person would be the pit, Manny Maldonado.
Oh, he was still at Georgetown then?
He was, yeah.
Oh, for like 1 year?
He was there. Yes, that was going to be his first year at the high school. And then right after I took the job, he accepted the job at Cedar Park.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I remember I did your first percussion camp or something. I was like in the pit. I forget who else. Maybe it was Roland. I think it was like me, Roland Chavez, and you.
Yeah, I was scrambling for sure.
So that means you took a band to UIL, and you took a middle school band to UIL?
I did. I took a non-varsity, what are the classifications? I don't know. Double C middle school band contest.
And how did you do your first contest?
Oh, we nailed it, man.
Straight ones?
First time in Georgetown history.
You're kidding.
To the best of my knowledge, one's on stage and one's in sight reading.
Wow.
There were, I think, 16 kids in the band.
Do you remember the pieces you played? And it's okay if you don't.
There's Nottingham Castle.
Sounds like a middle school piece.
It was a great one. The march I won't remember, and I'll remember the other tune.
Sure. Wow.
Soon.
So then how long were you a middle school director before you became an official high school band director?
1 illustrious year.
1 year.
Yeah.
And then you were a band director at Georgetown.
I was doing all of the percussion at the high school from my middle school band director position. Actually, there's 3 middle schools and the high school, and I was in charge of all of those, which is when Tyler Dempsey came into the picture to kind of split some of that load.
Did you take high school bands to UIL?
I did. Yeah. I did the sub non-varsity band for, I think, 2 years. And then I did the non-varsity band my last year, band directing. Yeah.
Oh my God. So you were a band director who taught drums.
Full-blown band director who taught drums.
Did you like it?
No. no, I didn't. I did it. It seemed in the truest sense, it seemed like a good idea at the time. It seemed like the most marketable decision. I know a lot of percussionists that did the same thing. Mike Howard's a good example. He was a drum guy that taught band, and he was kind of the opposite. He didn't like teaching drums as much as band, and it turned all right for him.
Some would say.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the first time you won the Lone Star Classic, arguably the most well-known and competitive drumline competition in the state of Texas. Do you remember what year that was?
It was 2006.
So like second to last year.
It was
you left in 08, so that would have been.
It was my 4th or 5th year teaching.
4th or 5th year. So what was that like?
It was great. That was old school Lone Star, so there was no prelims finals. It was just like I would need to check like the records or whatever, but there was probably like 50 drum lines all in one big class.
So they didn't split the classes back then?
No, it was just a big old free-for-all.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, and they would, I think, if I remember correctly, they would call out like in 48th place, and they would just go through the whole thing, which was pretty exciting. But that was a good group. That was what I consider to be my first good percussion section.
Was that the Scheherazade show?
That was Scheherazade.
Yeah, I remember.
Good job.
Wow.
Good job.
How many times did you win the Lone Star Classic at Georgetown High School?
1.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And you just quit after that? You're like, we're not going back.
No. We went every year. Not every year. We went to, I think that was the first year we went to Lone Star was that year. It was also like a PASIC year and everything. It was a busy year.
Oh, yes.
And then, it was a lot of fun. Like Round Rock was super good. It still is super good. And we were, duking it out.
Wow. The little kids from the farm town of Georgetown.
Yeah, little tiny drum lines, man. Like 4-3, 4-2 kind of things. It was fun. It was fun. A lot of fun.
Do you have some favorite memories or people from your time in Georgetown ISD?
Yeah, dude. Charles Aguillon was fantastic.
Yeah.
It is still fantastic.
Fine arts coordinator for Lake Travis. Yep. Go Cavaliers. Cavaliers, yeah.
Charles was great. I learned a ton from Charles. Brennan Killingsworth was the first director.
Yes,
very patient with a moderately irresponsible first year director. That was stressed out of his mind.
Right.
I learned a lot from him. Tyler, I learned a lot from Tyler.
Tyler Dempsey, yes.
Yep. And so, great teachers across the board. They were, really fine teachers.
Yeah, right on. Let's talk about craziness, nay, the insanity that is the Texas Water Safari.
Okay.
Can you explain what the Texas Water Safari is?
The Texas Water Safari is dubbed the world's, what is it? Might have to edit this.
What? We're doing so well.
I know, man. What is it called? The world's most difficult... Anyways, we don't have to say
the world's
more
difficult water safari?
I can't remember what it is.
Oh, okay. Well, but what is it?
The Texas Water Safari is a 260...
The world's toughest canoe race.
The world's toughest canoe race is what it is, yeah. It is a 260-mile canoe race from San Marcos.
Yeah.
It starts in Ocarina Springs, or ex-Ocarina Springs,
like the old Ocarina Springs?
Yep. It starts right there in the middle where Ralph the Swimming Pig is. And it follows the entire San Marcos River until it hits the Guadalupe River, and then it follows the entire Guadalupe River until it hits the bay. And then you go across the bay 6 or 7 miles, and you end up in a little town called Cedar, Texas.
Wow. Okay. And do you do it alone?
No. Me and the Mike Howard, best band director in Texas.
Wow.
Country. No, let's go country.
You're going country.
Well, clearly. I mean, there's numbers to prove this.
Okay. I'm not laughing because I disagree.
Right.
I'm laughing at the audacity. You're like, hey, I don't teach anymore.
Well, I've been saying it for years.
Well, now he's got the receipts, right? He's got the skins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, Mike Howard and I do that race. I've done it for, I guess, 4 years running now. We're supposed to do it again.
Supposed to?
Yeah.
He's got so many trophies weighing him down now. Do you think he's...
None better than the championship trophy from the Water Safari.
So you won last year?
We won our division.
You won your division. How many divisions are there?
Probably 7 or 8, something like that.
Sure. So How long, mile-wise, is this, or kilometers? You might have mentioned it.
260 or 264. They say 260. It's a long time.
And what is the average finishing time for folks?
That's a good question.
You.
You have 100 hours to do it.
Oh.
And I think last year we were 59. I think our highest was 69, something like that, hours. So that's average is probably like in the 70s, I would say, 75 to 80 hours,
like
I would
2
guess.
Days, 3 straight days, right?
Yeah.
Do you sleep?
Not much. No. Mike and I try to sleep twice. So we took, I think last year, roughly like an hour and a half, nap, I guess, after the first day of paddling. And then we slept again for 2 or 2.5 hours, something like that. And that was it. The rest of it was good old paddling through beautiful Texas.
Yeah. So what are some of the hardships or things that make this so crazy and ridiculous and awful?
Not sleeping is rough.
Sure.
So there's hallucinations that happen. There's general boredom.
Sure.
Mike and I, we function. I don't know how anybody else's teams function in this thing, but it's pretty effortless. We both balance each other out pretty well.
Right. I imagine you talk all the time, and Mike's like, "Yeah, man."
I feel like I talk most of the time, but I can pull it out of him.
So would you and I not function because we would just be talking the entire time, and then we would both like stop?
No, that we would not. Talking would not be a problem.
Oh, okay.
Which is really helpful, actually. Keeps you awake, which
keeps you
is
going.
nice. Yeah,
keeps you going. Yeah. You finished every time you've done it?
We have, which is surprising to us, but yeah, we have.
That's awesome. And then your significant others are the coaches, right? Is that how this works?
Yeah, they're the team captains. Is what they're called. Yeah, so Jen and Amber give us food and water and stand on muddy, mosquito-filled banks at 3 a.m. to hand us sandwiches.
They're a fun follow on social media when it happens.
Yeah, it's great.
Like you said, they're knee deep in mud or whatever, and then they're driving and they're sleeping, right? At the checkpoints.
They're trying to sleep.
Show up.
Yeah, not sleeping much, but it's incredible. Like, I absolutely couldn't do it without them.
Oh my God. How did y'all decide to do this? Because I'd never heard of it until you mentioned you were going to do this.
My father-in-law, I guess Jen, my wife, her uncle has done this race since before he passed away. Did the race starting in the 60s. I think he finished it 20 times or something like that.
Wow.
He suckered my father-in-law into doing it a few times with him. Jen and I went to go see him when we were in college. We followed along with it for a little bit, and it was kind of in the back of my mind to maybe do it someday, but I never found anybody else dumb enough, I guess, to do it.
I said country.
First time I mentioned it to Mike, he was in, and all we'd had to do was figure out a good time to do it. So it's great. It's great.
And as band directors, there's plenty of time for y'all to do things like
this. One works out okay, man. You paddle once on the weekend, kind of squeeze them in the week if you can, and then the second week of June is when it kicks off.
Right.
So
right. Yeah. All right. Okay.
This is Cedar Park. This is Cedar Park. This is Cedar. This is Cedar. This is Cedar Park. This is Cedar Park.
So after Georgetown, you went to Cedar Park High School from 2008 to 2010. Why the move? What excited you about the jump? All those kinds of things.
It was. I don't like doing. Turns out I don't like doing anything for too long. And so I definitely needed some change. I was considering not teaching anymore towards the end of my Georgetown time. Wow. So Cedar Park came around at a really good time. Mm-hmm. Super exciting. Over the course of many a Monday night barbecue.
Right.
Jeremy and I became pretty good friends.
Of Jeremy Spicer.
Jeremy Spicer, yes.
Yeah. Once again, following Manny Maldonado.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so it worked out that a spot opened up, and then I went over there, and it was really exciting. It was exciting to be part of a huge, successful band program where things were run very differently in a very different district. And yeah, it was exciting. It was exciting. Very exciting. I think I still have my visitor's badge on my... I came home. I was so excited from I guess it was the interview.
Your sticker?
Yeah, my sticker. Yeah, wow. Yeah. It was really exciting.
That's good. So it was Steve Wessels, Jeremy Spicer, you, and...
Bob Cresty.
Bob, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's wild. And were you doing a band there, or were you just percussion?
No, I did not do a band my last 2 years at Georgetown. I convinced them. That's when I decided I don't like it anymore.
Gotcha.
They were nice, and drums were going well enough to where it
You
worked
held
out.
up your Lone Star trophy and go, see? I know
See?
what I'm doing,
Yeah,
son.
yeah.
So no band at Cedar Park. You were just doing percussion at the cluster, I assume, right?
Yep, Cedar Park Middle School, at the high school, and it was supposed to be at Canyon Ridge, but it was just really difficult to get over there.
Sure. So in 2008, y'all were 4th at the UIL State Marching Contest in 5A, which at the time was the big class.
Sure.
And then the next 2 years, they did not compete at the State Marching Contest because they went back down to 4A. They missed their year. It was a whole
Yeah.
it was a whole thing. So what was it like? I don't know that the band advanced to state while you were at Georgetown.
No.
And now you're at Cedar Park, and you are one away from meddling. Like,
Yeah.
what are the differences in going from that band to like, oh, here we go, we're competing?
Oh, it was incredible. Yeah, it's exactly what I was. It was exactly what I was looking for. Long season, huge percussion section, great schedule. The culture in general
For the culture, yeah.
was way different band wide, which was the exciting part. Jeremy and I were very much on the same page, and that just made every day go by very easily. Yeah, big contest, man. Playing in the Alamo Dome's great fun. It was fun. It was great.
Did you go to Lone Star contest while you were there at Cedar Park?
Yep, both years.
Did you win?
Yes.
Both times or just one time?
Just one. You know what? No, we didn't go. No, I take that back. We did not go in my first year. We went to PASIC.
Oh, because it was in Austin at that time, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was in Austin in 06.
Did you win that one?
Yes.
Oh, and then the next year you went to Lone Star and won there.
Yes.
Oh my God. So far 2 for 2 at the schools.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
you've gone to.
There's a
Okay.
PASIC in Georgetown, too.
Oh my God. Humble brag. Wow. Okay, Paul. So you're basically kind of good is what you're trying to say. Yeah. Okay. So Paul, as a native Texan, I want your thoughts on the following things.
Okay.
Torchy's tacos.
What do I'm not into it.
That's good.
Designer tacos, I don't do it.
I thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Chewy's.
Chewy's is all right. I mean, it's not Mexican food, but it's like
They think it is.
well, I mean, it's I'm not a huge fan.
You're going to be a sorority girl and say, "Oh, it's about the creamy jalapeno."
Hey, that's pretty delicious.
Oh, of
it's
course
pretty
it is.
delicious.
Oh God,
It's good.
White
It's
people,
good.
am I right? Taco Cabana,
Taco Bell is great.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Great fajitas,
Yeah.
Great queso,
Yeah.
tortillas.
The tortillas
like
are
San
awesome.
Antonio thick tortillas.
Yes. Yeah, I got you.
I don't go there enough. I should go more.
There's literally one on the corner next to us.
24 hours.
Not this one. This one closes at midnight.
Lifesaver in San Marcos.
Only on the weekends. Yeah, the one in San Marcos. The one up in Pflugerville, right up there, is 24 hours because I stay up all night. Whataburger.
Nah. Ooh. Whatever. I'm not a big burger guy.
That's
And
true.
Whataburger, I just grew up on it, right? I mean,
Right.
It's like,
So it's like McDonald's to us.
yeah. I mean, I don't eat a lot of fast food, but
Do you say Whataburger or Whataburger?
Waterburger.
Like water, yeah.
Like water, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thank
just
you.
the way it's said.
Water.
Yeah.
Waterburger.
Yeah.
Well, then this takes out the next two questions. Mighty Fine Burger,
I guess I've had one.
Oh, my
Can't really remember. Don't care.
P. Terry's.
Whatever. Yeah, it's a burger.
All right. Rudy's Barbecue.
Not as bad as people say it is.
I like that
yeah,
barbecue.
it's pretty good. I mean, it's not Franklin's, obviously.
Well, no. I mean, but
it's good, man. It's good barbecue.
way better than Bill Miller, that's for sure.
Bill Miller's a separate. It's like Chewy's. Bill Miller's a separate category.
Bill Miller's
of-
isn't real barbecue.
No, it's not real barbecue. But it's just it's Bill Miller's. It's a different deal.
Right. Fried chicken's the best part there. Salt Lick.
Never been.
What?
Yeah, I've heard it's fun to go, but it's not very good. I guess I've had it maybe in the airport. There's a Salt Lake in the airport, I think.
I don't mind it at the airport or the one in Round Rock by the stadium.
Never been to that one.
Yeah, I'd rather go there than go to Driftwood. I did the Driftwood one, so many times growing up. So
Yeah,
it's
I've
not a
never
big
been down there. I would like to
deal.
go.
So, have you done Franklin's?
Yeah, multiple times.
What do you think about? Thanks for the invite.
It's delicious.
Yes, it is.
You have to get up early for that. You don't do that.
Oh,
you didn't do that.
I'll stay up late.
Oh,
There
just
we
do
go.
the whole
Yeah, oh my
Vegas,
God.
Vegas style.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, let's do it. Pluckers.
Haven't been in a long time. Used to go quite a bit. I like their wings. They're good.
Well,
That's no Wingstop.
No. What?
Wingstop's great.
the heck you say?
What's better than Wingstop?
Pluckers?
No.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's wrong.
Hot Wing Willie's?
Edit that.
In its time, probably.
Hot Wing Willis was better than all of them put together. Yeah, certainly.
I hate that this
Still
happened
owe me
to
a
you.
paycheck.
That's my favorite. One of my.
Yeah.
You have so many good stories, but the one where you show up to work and
Sign
they've
on the
been
door.
evicted.
Yeah. Owner stole all the kitchen gear and went to Mexico, man. That was it. Over.
I'd love to say only in San Marcos, but I'm sure that happens all the world over. What's the most overrated thing about Austin?
God, this isn't, I don't know. Let's see here.
Everything's so good about it.
I like quite a bit of it. I I mean, the tacos aren't great. I
Well,
mean, people say they are, but
You grew up near San Antonio.
yeah, they're just better there.
Yeah.
It's like the only thing that's better there. The overrated thing about Austin, I'm not really sure.
You love Austin so much.
I'm a big fan of Austin. I'll work on that. I'll think about something.
You did move. It's so interesting how our lives proximity based have intertwined.
Yeah.
When you moved to Austin, you lived off of William Cannon.
I did.
And that's where I grew up, off of William Cannon in South First.
Yeah, right there.
Right there. And your apartment complex was across the street from where my dad lived. And then when you moved up here, I mean, I did know this area because of you. I bought my house, and we're neighbors. We really are neighbors.
There's a lot of us up here. A lot of
they're really
great. Yeah, it's really nice.
Anna Rodriguez used to live up here. Well, close by. Yeah. So, what about an underrated thing about Austin? Wow,
Man, I just haven't really thought about this stuff very much.
that's gotcha journalism here.
You know, it's not on. Jen and I go out a lot. I'm not sure if it gets recognized for as good of a restaurant town as it is. It's really fantastic. I mean, the thing I don't like is I'm talking too much about food, I guess. But
No, but that's important.
it's great. I love all the outdoorsy stuff as well. Lake Travis is beautiful.
It is.
And I spend a lot of time on it.
Humble brag.
It's nice, man.
Yeah. What about your thoughts on sparkling water, specifically Topo Chico?
Oh, I think it's the best one.
It is.
I drink so much sparkling water that I would lose all my money if I drank Topo Chico as often as I drink HEB sparkling water. It's like 6 a day at least, you know?
Yeah. No, I hear you. That's an investment I'm willing to make, is spend money on my
I should treat
sparkling water.
myself.
You should, Paul. You deserve
And
it.
the glass bottle, I like the lime one. It's so good.
Up to now in the timeline, you're a 2-time Lone Star Classic champion. You deserve all the Topo Chico you want.
I wish that was a prize.
Speaking of the timeline, from 2010 to 2016, you were percussion director at Vandegrift High School.
Go Vipers.
Go Vipers. I did have Jeremy Spicer on here, and he couldn't remember. Was it Howie the Spicy Mobile or Spicy the Howie Mobile? Do you remember?
Oh, wow. The golf cart?
Yes.
I don't know. They might have named that.
I thought
wasn't
you
there.
named it.
I wasn't there the first year when they got the golf cart.
Right, but I thought somebody named it that. I didn't make that up, that's for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't help you.
All right, so why the move to Vandegrift? You made a quote-unquote lateral move as a percussion teacher to another percussion teacher, and you were only at Cedar Park for 2 years, and then you moved to Vandegrift. So why?
Oh, it was a good challenge. I would say that, well, it was something that was discussed for a while. Mike and Jeremy and I had discussed like working together.
Right.
Starting a program sounds interesting. I can't say that my last year at Cedar Park was super enjoyable.
Okay. You don't have to say that.
Gotcha. I won't.
You didn't.
It wasn't. No, I enjoyed greatly working with Evan Van Doren and Steve Wessels a lot.
Oh, all right.
And then so Vandegrift was just a great opportunity to start a new program.
Sure.
It was a new challenge, and that's what I think I liked most about it, was to take. I guess I was teaching for 8 years at that time. Take the information I got and then try to start something from scratch to see if I could do that. I think was probably the main draw to it, and working with just great friends and the opportunity to build something.
And if it hasn't been specified yet, Mike Howard also went to Southwest Texas State
Yes.
University. So you're basically working with Bobcat friends for years that you had known.
Yeah, great
Back
opportunity.
in San Marcos. Yeah. So at Vandegrift, what were your responsibilities and roles? I assume you weren't a band director in terms of doing a band.
I was not. No,
Yeah.
the option was always there. I could have always done a band, but never wanted to.
No, never wanted to.
So I did percussion at the middle schools and high schools.
Oh, okay.
And high school, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. In 2013, you were the 5A, which was the second largest class, UIL State Marching Band champion.
Yeah.
You finally did it. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you win drums at that contest?
We did win drums. No, we didn't win drums.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, no drum trophy.
Did you compete at the Lone Star contest while you were at Vandegrift?
Yes.
Did you win?
We did one of the years, yeah. Yeah. I guess my last year, I think.
And that's why you just like threw your sticks down and go, I'm out.
That was it. I threw
Right?
it down.
So, you look back on your time at Vandegrift a little bit, it sounds like more fondly than Cedar Park. What were some of your favorite memories, some of your favorite people, some of your favorite things from your time at Vandegrift?
Being on a staff that it was a pretty rare situation. There was basically just not disagreements. You spend a lot of time with each other, so stuff pops up, but it was definitely the easiest group to work in. Everybody There's a lot of trust. Everybody's on the same page. You just knew everything was going to get done. It was very motivating because everything was getting so much better. So you felt the need to do your part. It was a great working environment.
Sure.
Which is the most important thing.
Right.
I
hang,
I want to
so
be
to
on
speak.
record. Well, no, not even that, and all of that was great. But I don't think I realized until then that the most important part of job satisfaction in that world is being on the same page and having a good working environment with the staff.
Right.
The actual staff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I imagine, much like for anyone, when the head director resigned, it probably threw a wrench into things, right? Things were probably pumping along both professionally and personally between everyone. That
Sure.
where it was like there was a big jolt, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially considering the timing of the event. It just kind of
A little late.
a little,
late in the calendar. Yeah.
And we all understand everyone has their things.
Sure.
And so do you look back on those years? Was it a little rougher than when you started initially there, or was it just, well, we're just going to grind it out and we're going to win and be awesome no matter what?
It was, that was immediately the mentality.
Sure.
So grind it out and do everything that you were going to do anyways.
Sure.
Yeah, obviously very frustrating, and there's a lot to that. But but when it came down to it, there's a bunch of kids and a bunch of parents and a bunch of staff members that are all there to do the same thing. So we just kind of ground it out. Yeah.
And it doesn't take anything away from your early success, but it looks like the person who ended up taking over did all right as the current head director
Best
at Vandegrift
band
High
director
School.
in the world. Yeah,
You've said it multiple times.
Yeah.
He has the skins on the wall.
Yeah, well.
Yes. Paul Pape, for the folks listening to us at home, in their cars, in their bathtubs, in the subway, walking their dogs, at the gym, typing up invoices, waiting for results at a marching band contest, or guarding a bathroom during standardized testing, please describe in excruciating detail what shoes you are wearing.
Excruciating detail.
I'm expecting a lot out of this one.
I am wearing good old fashioned. I've been a fan for years of Adidas Stan Smiths.
That's a huge shoe.
Thank you for noticing.
What size foot do you have?
This is a 12 and a half,
Oh
I
my
believe I
God.
wear. Yeah,
Wow.
12 and a half in Stan Smiths with super feet inserts.
Oh, the green.
Green.
That's right.
Yeah, the best ones.
That's right. For someone
me,
like you.
for me, yeah.
For the pronated foot or whatever.
I do. Yeah, very good.
Yes.
Very. Oh, you would know. These are the most classic Stan Smiths. These are the original
one of the
white
greatest shoes of all time.
and green
Yeah.
Stan Smiths. Yeah, I like them a lot. I think they're great. Super comfortable.
Yes. And it matches your very choice track jacket, which is also green.
Thank you.
Very jealous of
Timeless.
Timeless. Yes. I appreciate that. Paul, would you call yourself a sneakerhead?
No,
No?
but I like shoes a lot.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Not sneakers per se.
Oh, so just
Yeah.
shoes.
I like shoes. I like shoes and jackets a lot.
Oh,
a good man purse.
Okay, let's talk about the man purse
Let's
here.
get into it.
Ryan Cerna, the first one, right?
Yes.
Ryan Cerna went to Europe with South Madison Scouts, or what? Do we remember?
No.
Do you remember the story, or did he just go?
No. I don't think he went to Europe.
What?
I don't think this has anything to do with Europe.
Oh, Jim Yakis carried a man bag, right?
Grapevine went to Tech whatever year it was, 99 maybe. Anyway, Southwind Snare Line.
Southwind Snare Line.
Yeah, and he just had stuff.
Right,
He
right.
had stuff, and and he wanted a small bag for a drum key, and
Yeah.
and we had a checkbook back in the day, and
yeah.
maybe a pack of cigarettes or whatever, right?
Whatever those are. Yeah.
So
Vape
you had
sticks.
You had
Yeah.
stuff, but you don't need a lot of space, and so he came back and he was hyping his man person. As a guy who hates stuff in
Right.
his pockets, it seemed like a great idea.
And back then we had the Nokia flip phone type thing. So if I remember correctly, he had the phone holder on the strap in front of his chest, and then there was the bag holder. Or maybe that was a different version.
I had
did you have that?
My man purse, my first nice man purse.
Oh.
Had a phone holder on it. Yeah.
Right.
Like a
So
neoprene thing.
if Ryan's patient zero, you're the next one, right?
yeah, I jumped on the bandwagon.
Juan had one for a bit, didn't he?
Think so.
I feel like
you would need to
a
ask,
little
yeah.
bit. And did Rod carry one for his knife?
I don't think so. No, he always
he
had that
in his
ready. Yeah, he always had that ready.
Good old South Texas Mexican,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Now, of everybody, I think you and I are the only ones that continue to rock the man purse.
I think that's true.
You took some time off.
Yeah, you have less stuff.
Yeah, well, I like the man purse. I don't know. I would never.
too.
I'm never going back.
No, when I go out, without a jacket, without extra pockets, I should
Right,
say.
yeah.
And then pants got tighter. What are you going to do? Carry all that stuff?
It's fashion. What do you think about the rappers now adopting like man bags or the hip bag that they wear on their sides? Like they're just copying off of us now.
I just wish that they would go full man purse. I don't see why you have to go fanny pack sideways. Yeah,
yeah. Like Cristiano Ronaldo, he actually like legit carries a purse.
He's European, doesn't count.
Yeah, but he's also like one of the best athletes in the world.
True.
One of the richest.
True.
And I hear he's good looking. I don't know. Whatever. How would you describe your sneaker, your shoe, your jacket style?
Oh, I don't know how I would describe it. I mean, I'm very. I don't know. I just kind of get the stuff I like.
You do. You got a style. You do. What's your most prized sneaker?
Oh, without a doubt. This is new. I don't have a lot of prized sneakers. I buy sneakers. I buy shoes. Most of them are on sale. But
You're very frugal.
yeah, well, I mean, they're to be worn, right? Not these though. My wife got me a beautiful pair of, I guess, extreme. That you would know better than I do.
They're rare.
Very rare. Paul's Boutique 20th anniversary Beastie Boys edition. Adidas.
Yes.
They're absolutely beautiful.
They are.
I've worn them. I wore them out once.
Where did you wear them?
I wore them to nothing special, man. I went out to dinner, but I figured I should wear them. So they have the sealant on them, and now they will be making. I almost wore them tonight.
That would have been. I kind of expected you to do that.
I almost did,
but you did not.
I almost did. I'm sorry.
So why? What makes this shoe so special? Do you like the Beastie Boys or something?
Yeah, high on the list, man. I don't know if they're my favorite. Probably so, though. And if I had to pick an album, it would be Paul's Boutique. Yeah, not because of the name, but just because it's incredible.
It's an innovative, groundbreaking, the most sampled album like in the history of the world, right? Like I don't know how many samples they use.
I've probably listened to that full album at least once a month for 20 years, at least.
Not even 30 years?
Was it 30?
It's 30th anniversary.
Damn, that's what it was, 30th.
30.
Yeah, probably so, because I think I got a tape of it in, God, what, 91 or something like that?
Right. It's a smart looking shoe. I did see it on the back. It does have the Adidas logo, but it says boys underneath it on one of the shoes.
It says Beast,
on the other.
Yeah.
And it's got a dark gum rubber outsole. God, it's really nice.
Hey, this is not a shoe video we're doing here.
No, but I think people need to look. It's not even like. It's not annoying or ostentatious or anything.
Like it's
pretty very understated. It's a very nice shoe. Yes, I'm sorry that I turned this to a shoe video.
No, they're beautiful. I think they're kind of straight ahead, but I mean, it's a Beastie Boys Paul's Boutique shoe. Who doesn't want that?
I would totally. I was hoping. I'm glad you got it.
Yeah, but me too. Me too.
All right. So now the reason why we're here, Paul. Let's roll up the sleeves like we're a lawyer ready to fight for the people.
Get down to it.
You left Vandegrift High School in 2016.
Yep.
Why?
Change.
Because you don't like being somewhere too long, as you mentioned.
I don't like being somewhere too long. I think I needed a new challenge. I think there's a kind of a long list of stuff. It was something when I told, I think it might have been, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Anna Rodriguez. When I told her that I quit, I think she said something to the effect of, I'm surprised it took you so long, or no big surprise, something like that. It's definitely something that I'd been mulling over for a long time. And I think, definitely change and new challenges. And I don't know, I guess still kind of hard to put into words, really. I don't know, I think maybe life's too short to do the same thing the whole time, but that's just me. I don't know. I mean, obviously don't think there's anything wrong with that, but for me, I was just ready to do something different.
I just found out that you thought about leaving after Georgetown. So there was that.
Yeah.
And did you think about leaving after Cedar Park since your experience maybe wasn't the best?
No, Cedar Park was very rejuvenating. It was great. Yeah, it was great to go there. It was it's not that I guess it was just more like-minded people. There was just the focus and the execution and how everybody was doing everything was great. And it was just really exciting. And to work with that group. It was really another challenge. I was doing really small groups and trying to throw a ragtag group of kids together, which I thought was great. And it was definitely more defined at Cedar Park. And then the challenge of trying to build something from scratch was, I kind of have to, for me, I have to try to, I make a goal for myself and then see if I can pull it off. I think is what I've learned about myself after a long time. Like hence, I think probably the marathon stuff and all of that. It's just like, can I actually do it? And then here's a plan.
You're goal oriented and
check
points and
to a certain extent.
That makes sense. So if you left in 2016, it's obvious. I mean, I'm assuming you didn't just wake up and go, "Oh, today's the day I quit." Like you might have been considering this for some time.
Yeah, I was probably considering that for several years. You know, I knew I wasn't going to do that job forever. Okay. And I also knew that I was in the best possible situation I could ever imagine. I also knew I had no aspirations of being a head director or a fine arts administrator. None of that sounds very interesting to me. I knew I didn't want to go to a program that was less time intensive because that doesn't sound exciting at all. So if when I evaluate my time and my life and what I'm doing with myself and the best potential situation or the best possible situation that I could be in, and I'm still going like, well, this isn't, I need to do something else, then I knew it was officially time to go do something else.
So were you burned out?
We talked about that the other night, and I don't really think that's the word for it. I mean, I not in the sense of like, wow, I worked way too many hours. I mean, working that many hours is not something I was a huge fan of, but it was also very, self-inflicted, which comes with, I have goals that I want to accomplish, and I'm certainly not going to, let the students down, which is probably a whole nother thing about it. Whenever you start kind of waning on the, should I be here or should I not be here? This isn't just like a you decision anymore, right? There's like, I think there's family considerations, right? Like if I'm miserable at my job, that's not going to make me a very happy person at home. And then there's staff considerations, which is probably number 2 on that list. And you just want to make sure you're doing your part for all those people. Not letting anybody down. And then you got all these kids and parents and all that good stuff, right? So if you're not, it's definitely a job. If you're not 100% invested, and especially in that kind of program, then it's just time to go. It's time to go elsewhere. So I thought about it for a long time. I probably made the decision before the year started, my last year, that this was probably going to be it, but really wanted to have that thought and then go through the whole season with that being the thought to see if that was actually what I wanted to do. Right. And it became pretty evident, especially like in the throes of marching season, that I was kind of over it, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what do you do currently? What is your occupation?
I do sales. I'm a salesman.
A salesman?
Yeah, for a company called Cintas.
Cintas, yes. As we have discussed.
If you're from south of, I guess,
from south of the river.
Utah. Yeah, I guess maybe the river. And I sell first aid supplies and defibrillators and training and things like that.
You do not drive the vans that are around time that's
no. I've yet to drive one of those vans.
Right. So you obviously did not go to school to be a salesperson for this thing. How did your skills as a musician or a band director, as a teacher, make you marketable out in the real world?
They did not make me marketable in the real world at all.
Oh, okay.
Which was a little frustrating. The realization was a little frustrating. I don't think I did. I don't think I did it right. I don't think I quit my job right from a plan of what to do next. I certainly didn't. Well, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew what I didn't want to do, and was in a fairly good position where I could actually like kind of jump off the cliff and have some time to figure it out.
Sure,
which was good. And so there was some, I wouldn't say stopgaps in there, but there was time where I was trying to figure out what it is I wanted to do. So there were several things I would have done differently if I could do it again. But I did spent a lot of time doing music consulting, which is great, and worked with some great people, worked with, just great teachers in the area. And I liked going around and working with different people. And I liked, it's not, well, you do it. It's business ownership, I suppose, to a certain extent. Yours much more than what I was doing, but I like the aspect of that whole thing. And that got me into thinking about doing sales. It's kind of, you're kind of in control of your own destiny. The harder you work, the better you get at it, the better you do, all of that stuff. So, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So This is what I tried to weasel my way into, which is what I did. I got some, I worked for another good friend of mine doing some independent sales, which helped, got a ton of experience. He was incredibly helpful with that process. And then I ended up going to a company and doing training with cintas, as you say.
Thank you.
Yeah. And which was a pretty natural transition. That's where the teaching came in. It was pretty evident that, I mean, I had education background, but that training position had a huge sales component to it. And that part actually went really well, and that's the part that I found interesting. I was over the teaching part in any capacity. And so I did well in the sales, and that got me into the sales job that I'm in now.
Now, your job, I assume you don't work nearly as hard time-wise as you would as a high school band director?
No, it's half, probably half.
Half?
I would say half, yeah.
Is it your normal 40-hour-a-week job?
No, it's less than that, I think, you know. Yeah, it's less time than that. I mean, if you add up if you're just on your computer doing some emails later in the evening and all that good stuff. When I was teaching, I made a very strict rule for myself. I didn't work outside of being at work.
Gotcha.
I didn't mull over it in the evenings. Maybe I mulled over it like emotionally, but I definitely didn't do any work. Sunday during like percussion ensemble season, Sundays I would do some planning for the week, get a schedule out, but that was very, very minimal. Sure. My goal was, and I guess still is work as little as possible and accomplish the goals that you want.
Right.
I don't see why you would do it any other way.
It's efficiency.
Yeah, which is what that's the fun part to figure out.
Right. So do you find that you are more efficient than some of your coworkers because of the restraints that you have for class periods or for 8 hours, or you're one guy and you've got 300 kids to worry about? You know, do you work differently, maybe better, more efficiently than some of your normal core workers, perhaps? Co-workers?
I think nothing is as big of a deal to me, right? Like what people consider stressful, I would not say is stressful. When things go wrong, you know, it's not actually going wrong. It's just like, it's like a very simple, small thing. And so I have a much higher tolerance for all of that. As far as the efficiency part, because I've been on a schedule basically my whole life until I quit teaching. I mean, I was living on a bell schedule. It is still taking me a while to put myself on a schedule. It's pretty easy when when a bell rings or rehearsal's over at this time, you do what's on the schedule and you do it. So being in this position, you have to be very self-motivated. There isn't a bell going off. There's certainly, so it's very unstructured, and I'm used to a lot of structure. And so that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out if I like or not, which I'll figure out at some point. But I mean, and if not, whatever. I mean, I'll change something again. So I'm trying to figure out that whole part right now, basically. But I've got a plan. I've got a system that I'm using, and I stick to it most of the time.
That's good. Do you find that you eat less fast food now that you're not a band director?
Man, I did pretty good on that. I didn't eat a lot of fast food.
You weren't one of those that so many band directors, like, they gain weight during marching season.
Oh, a lot. Yeah.
And then they lose it over spring because of stress, and then they stop eating fast food. And then
that was another good thing about the staff, is that was kind of a quiet, let's not all turn into old fat band directors kind of. Right. So we did. We tried to stay in shape, and then you put a bunch of long hours and.
Now, you mentioned something earlier, and I didn't even think to ask about it, but now we're going to talk about it.
Let's do it.
The evening formerly known as Monday Night Barbecue, which turned into Monday Night Barbecue on Wednesday because we moved it, but then went back to Monday, so it was Monday Night Barbecue on Wednesdays on Monday.
Did it go back? It went back.
It went back. Now, let's start. How and why did this event start?
This is one of the better things of my entire teaching career was Monday Night Barbecue.
It was awesome.
Yes, it was awesome. So my wife, Jen, traveled a lot with her job.
Jakarta Jen.
Jakarta Jen. We moved to North Austin, and we got this house.
Northie.
And it was empty. It was me. Monday through Thursday, basically, is when she traveled. I was working a lot. This is probably my second year teaching.
At the town.
Yep. Simultaneously, Mike Howard was student teaching, or maybe just helping out. I think he might have been officially student teaching, but he was student teaching at Cedar Park. With Manny and Jeremy. And just because the drive was so far, he said, hey man, we should get together. Like, do you mind if I crash at your house? And I was all about it because I was kind of bored. So we settled on Monday night football, right? We'll watch some football, we'll grill some food, we'll hang out, stay as long as you want, whatever. So that quickly turned into probably Jeremy and Manny joining along, which turned into inviting some techs over, which turned into inviting basically every music educator in North Austin under the age of, I don't know, 35?
Some older people showed up at some point.
Yeah.
Rarely, but yeah. I mean, and I think Roland and I were in San Antonio at the point. I mean, sometimes we drive up here for that.
Of course.
Monday. So then you moved it to Wednesday. And why was that?
Because binge drinking until 2 a.m. on a Monday night during marching season is a bad idea.
So it's much better on Wednesday.
Well, you figure you at least... Yeah,
sure.
It was better. It was a better idea.
I thought it was also because Monday night you ended up canceling it so much because of like festival or showcase or UIL or something or concerts or I don't know.
I think it had more to do with the lack of sleep. Such an early night. Yeah, we just stay up late. We stayed up late. The best thing about it was a bunch of really smart educators. Very similar to the experience at SW, right? So everybody was out doing their jobs, and this gave a place for everybody to kind of decompress, especially when you're a young teacher. It's like you get wrapped up in your own little world and you're stressed about some things. Right. It's kind of nice to commiserate with some people. It's nice to get new ideas. I would hear things on Monday night or Wednesday night, whatever the case may be, and like try them the next day and, kind of report back to the group and all that good stuff. And there's also a lot of networking aspects to it.
Absolutely.
I think that helped. I mean, it helped me out. That's where Jeremy and I probably became good friends and probably started the whole thing where we ended up working together and then ended up Vandegrift and the whole bit.
That event sort of became the, I think that's where the community started to happen because everyone was so young there. Yeah. And then they became regular band directors and now they're running the programs or now they're no longer at programs. But I think that camaraderie still exists in North Austin, the north area, to the point where like when Rick Rodriguez moved down from Spring High School, he was kind of in shock of how everyone was friends.
Yeah, he thought it
with
was
each
really
other
weird. Yeah.
Because we weren't like we all wanted to beat each other, and by we I mean y'all. I'm not a band director, but y'all were still you'd get your butt beat at region, and then you'd like party with the guy that beat you, and it's like big deal.
Yeah. I mean, there's no sense in. I mean, it's already a hard job,
Yeah,
being an ass to each other that doesn't help.
No.
But it seems to be the case from what I understand. It's the case in a lot of places. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand sometimes at various events, but certainly not something that we were as a community interested in here.
And I talked about this with Jeremy Spicer when he was on earlier. It's crazy to think about the who's who now of band. Like you say, Mike Howard's the best band director in the country, and I'm not here to argue with you. Sure. I remember Mike. We remember Mike from Puppies at Southwest Texas.
Of course.
We remember Jeremy. We remember each other. We all have very funny checkered pasts.
Yes.
It's nothing bad. We were just dumb college kids. And now, you have Mike Howard and Jeremy at Vandegrift, yourself, Roland Chavez, like all these people that we have nicknames for and remember all these events. These are the guys and girls like Anna. These people are the ones that are setting the band teaching world on fire and have been for some time. And that's the same thing with Monday Night Barbecue. I think that was definitely the who's who when we look back on it and go like, oh my God, we used to party with Cliff Crooms and now he's running the LSU marching band. We used to do this. It's a wild look what you started, Paul.
Hey man, it was a great time. It was a lot of fun. It was it was a lot of fun.
It was. I don't know why you don't do it anymore. True. So Paul, there seems to be an influx of teachers, the majority being percussion, that are leaving education. Some are staying in the biz. They're arranging or clinicking or judging or whatever, but a lot of them are leaving the field entirely. And you did. And I'm curious, I'm not saying you're the first one. You might have been like the first like big domino to fall, but why do you think why is this happening? And why does it seem to be happening a lot as of late?
I'll speak for myself first and then I can give you my opinion. I think, for me, it was very challenge oriented and then things just kind of ran its course. And then everything I said earlier, basically, it was the time to go. And so that was my own personal experience, and there's more to it, less to it than that. But it was time to do something else. Is the gist of it. It's a very time intensive job, which again I'll speak for myself, but I know it's the case for everybody else too. It's very self inflicted, right? So I read lots of things online. I read lots of it's bitching. I read lots of bitching online about the job and how many hours it is, but nobody's being forced to do any of this. You don't have to work in any of these programs, and if you do work in those programs, that's it's not even that's what comes with that program, right? Sure. Nobody made me, it's not like Jeremy and Mike got together and forced me to teach 9 percussion ensembles in the spring. I wanted to teach 9 percussion ensembles in the spring, and it stressed me out, and the rehearsal schedule was ridiculous, and it was It was hard to do, but that's the way I wanted to do it. I didn't have to do it that way,
Right.
But by any means, I didn't even have to build the schedule I did when I initially built the schedule for how all of that was going to work. I could have had more periods off. I think there was enough money for me to hire people to work at middle schools, and that might not be the case with every program. But I wanted to do it myself, and so I did it. I did it myself, and so I think that I think people are probably, I don't know, I can't speak for anybody else. I think there's a bunch of reasons from what I hear and see most of the time. It's people feel like they're overworked and underpaid, which is a very, very valid concern.
Sure.
And so I think if people are quitting the job, what I say is good for you. If that's not something you want to do, then don't do that anymore. And if you want to go try something else, then go try something else, and that's fine. What I'm not a fan of, is maybe the best way to put it, is if you don't want to do it anymore, then don't sit around and bitch about it. Like you got to make a change about it, right? So either change what it is that you're doing in the job that you're doing it in, or don't do it anymore. But standing there and complaining about it, and writing 9-paragraph Facebook posts about how the Texas government should pay you more money isn't going to do any good. That's not how it works. So you're in control of it. You're not sentenced to this job.
Right. So I assume you did not get a raise every time you won the Lone Star Drumline Contest.
No, sometimes there was a cake. Does that count?
Well, you had to report that to the government.
It's fun. You do it because you're trying to be you're trying to teach the kids the best you can.
What about when you won state?
No, we got no raise.
No raise.
No.
So you mentioned self-inflicted, and I think that's what I was hoping you would eventually say is you were under no contractual obligation to do anything before school or after school other than just like normal marching band or whatever. So when you wanted to do sectionals, you decided to do sectionals. And if you wanted to go to 4 Points Middle School or another middle school, you did that. And
yes, I mean there were contractually you're not required to do even summer band or anything like that, right? So there's it's a little bit more complicated than that, because if the program you work for does that, then that's what you do, right? And so there's going to be a head director might have these rules that you need to do that. Rarely does it come from a principal. Typically, it comes from band staff. But you also know, nobody's forced to do any of these. That's the thing. Nobody's forced to do any of these jobs. Right. With that being said, sometimes you get yourself into a position, and I know other directors that have been in pretty, I don't know, high level, I don't know if the competitively successful programs, and those people quit. I think there's, I'm not sure if it's a burnout situation. I would love to sit down and actually have like long conversations with these folks, because it might be a very similar situation to what I was experiencing, which is you have a list of goals and you have challenges that you want to overcome, and then you do, and then I didn't know what was next. By no means did I, accomplish everything I set out to do or everything or anything like that. And I would never assume to say that. But when you do, when you do get to go to a new program and you get to build it and it turns out all right, and you go like, oh wow, okay, I did that. That's good. I like I'm proud of where this is at. I just couldn't maintain it for 15 more years. There's nothing exciting about that to me personally.
Right.
So don't do it anymore.
Yeah. So why do you think I speak in the Queens, we as percussion teachers, why do we kill ourselves so much?
I think, I don't know. I had success as an individual player, like I was active in like the region band tryouts and all that good stuff. And so I think I enjoyed that success. People pat you on the back. It feels good to be competitively successful.
Sure.
And so I think that's probably why a lot of people, I don't know if it's a lot, I have no idea, but people like doing it. They find out that they're good at it, or it makes them feel good for whatever reason. If it's because they get first, or they just like performing live. So you go into this thing, but this whole teaching thing is way different than that whole playing thing, right? So for me, it was the thing I did because it was the thing I did. I didn't really cross my mind to do anything else. It hit me pretty early that I really liked this. I had a good teacher that was very influential to me, named Scott Hartsfield, that I understood that there was a job where I could do something like that. And so I jumped into it and did it. And I think that leads into your career. And then, have some success or you don't, or I don't know. I just think you drive to get those feelings back that you had whenever you started doing all this stuff. And if you get them good, and if not, then not good. I'm not sure if any of that made any sense.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And all the listeners, all the hundreds of thousands of listeners.
Yeah.
Paul Pape.
Hard to put into words. Go ahead.
Well, you did. So hopefully someone's transcribing this for a doctoral thesis or something.
Well, I hope not.
You're welcome. Paul Pape, you are currently a part of one of the most prestigious groups in the world. A group of like-minded folk who were handpicked and personally invited. People have been clamoring for years to get into this group, and you are an OG member. Tell us about your experience in the Austin Powers Fantasy Football League.
My experience has been incredibly mediocre. I pay no attention to my team. Usually I make sure that I have all the players playing.
Right. Yeah.
I dropped the ball once or twice this season, I think.
Oh, boy.
Never won any money.
No.
Never got the loser's trophy, the Howie Vandell.
As of yet.
No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We need to recheck those records, by the way, I think. I just won this week.
Yeah. You win again. That's the thing. You have to win. You're close. What's your team name?
Shirts Buffaloes.
Because
go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
Yeah.
You've stayed true to that name, the Shirts Buffaloes.
Yeah, I think I participate for the draft party.
That's the best part.
It is the best part.
That's my favorite part. I wish more people would come.
Yeah, this last one was a good one.
I think we're always going to do it at the restaurant now. That was just the way to go. That was
absolutely.
Who's your favorite kicker?
Mason Crosby.
And why is that?
He's Georgetown High School graduate. His senior year, he used to kick footballs into my front ensemble pregame. And now, look at him now.
Look at him now.
Super Bowl ring.
That's right, with the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, that's right. So you alluded to this. But how's your team doing this year, Paul?
Not last.
I think you're second. No, third to last, right?
Not last.
You're not last. That is correct. That is. I'm not last either. So.
I got kind of cornered into picking way too many Cleveland Browns this year.
Who cornered you?
My draft pick, my draft order.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
I took who was left. They happened to be both on the Browns, and they both happened to be horrible.
Oh my gosh.
So, anyways, I will blame it on that, and then that combined with my lack of skill or care about my team.
Oh.
The only goal was to not get last. That was
you're not there yet.
It's been my goal every year. Don't get last.
So we've talked about this with Jeremy Spicer, who's also in the league. Mike Bishop, who's also in the league. Mike Bishop, who's in the running for the Howie Vandell. Mike Howard is in this league, the current best band director in the world.
Potentially worst fantasy football player in the world also.
He's the only three-time champion.
Yes. He sucks.
He really does.
Fantasy football.
Well, first of all, he loves the Cowboys.
He loves
him some Cowboys. Which, if anyone listens to the podcast, knows this is a cowboy hating podcast.
Of course it is.
Mike Howard. Initially, the trophy was just called like the toilet bowl, like any good fantasy league. Then he won it the first year, and then I decided we should call it the Ladies' Room Championship because his team name's the Miramar Mavericks for Top Gun, which is in Miramar, and then in the pivotal scene, and then he goes, the trophy for second place is in the ladies' room, right? So that's why we did it.
Is that the pivotal scene?
That's when Maverick
Goose dies.
Well, I think maybe the ladies' room trophy really motivated Maverick more than the death of his best friend,
all right.
or sleeping with his flight instructor. We'll find out in Top Gun 2, coming out in 2020.
I'm kind of into that sequel.
I cannot wait. I think all of us need to go see that together, like you, me, Juan, Grapevine, like get the whole crew. And so then when he won it for the third time, we renamed it. We renamed it the Vandy because everyone that had won it had taught at Vandegrift High School. Then Mike won it again.
I still take issue with that name.
Well, you're no longer there anymore.
Sure.
Then we renamed it the Howie Vandell because of Howie for Howard and Vandell because of Vandy. And the V is still the Viper V. And then Catherine Van Doren of Vandegrift High School has won it 2 times in a row.
Yes.
She's not going to win it this year, though.
Losers, the whole lot of them.
Yeah, so my question.
Good at band, bad at fantasy.
Why are Leander ISD band directors so bad at fantasy football?
I think what I just said might be the thing. Good at band, bad at... Yeah, I think it coincides with a busy time of the year, to say the least.
I was fully prepared to rename the trophy again when Catherine Van Doren won the trophy for the third time, but I have no proof. I think she's cheating. because she's in the playoffs. Her team's really good. I texted Joe Hobbs.
She's definitely cheating.
And I said, Joe Hobbs, congratulations on making playoffs in the Austin Powers. And he's like, no, she's playing it herself. And then he did
I don't believe a damn
some
word
other.
of it.
Yeah, I don't. She's paying something.
100%.
Yeah, she couldn't win it again. Yeah.
She needs PEDs. Definitely.
PEDs. I think so. So Catherine, we're on to you. Evan, there's no hiding. There's no hiding on that one.
No.
So, well, we'll find out how things turn out in the Austin Powers Fantasy Football League. Paul Pape, what are some things kids coming out of college that want your life, your job, your former life, your former job? They want your success. What do they need to know?
I think you should, if you're still in college, go out and teach as much as you possibly can.
Sure.
I could tell you what I tried to do, which was not reinvent the wheel. That is something that kind of drives me nuts. There's some tried and true things that people have been doing it for a really long time, are very successful, that have been doing things that are way smarter than I ever was in that world. Certainly smarter than I was when I was coming out of college. So find somebody you respect. My personal one was Kenan Wiley. I looked at the landscape, and he seemed to be the guy that was doing it the best and the most consistently. And so I talked to him every chance I got and tried to pick his brain. And I think for the most part, you find that people are pretty forthcoming with their information. And, he told me little things, and I tried to remember them and implement them. And so just get good at the easy stuff before you jump into the hard stuff.
Right.
And my last year teaching was very reluctant to teach outside of my ability.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Is it realistic for someone fresh out of college to expect their dream job of only teaching percussion 6 through 12 or 9 through 12?
More so now than it was, I think, when I came out. Now there's a lot of more opportunities for that, but they're pretty limited, I would say that that's another thing too. You're not, sometimes people get their dream job first.
Sure.
I personally, being very self-conscious about my abilities the whole time I was teaching, I'd be very reluctant to take my dream job first, right? Like if for some reason Kenan Wiley left and I was 22 and the job opened up, I think probably the last job I would want would be to follow that, just because I just simply didn't know enough, and probably didn't know enough at the end of my teaching career to fill in that spot either.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's not like pay your dues for paying your dues' sake. It's paying your dues so you can learn what you're doing. I mean, if anybody's that good at it their first year out of school, then I mean, that's a pretty serious anomaly. So
sure.
You're probably not that good coming out, and if you are, it's probably best to think that you're not, and then try to figure it out.
That's smart. That's smart. What do you think of those percussionists who say, I don't want to teach a band, I just want to teach drums?
I learned a lot from teaching a band. I did not like teaching a band, but I think there's a lot, I think in a lot of regards, from a music education standpoint, I think that rehearsing percussion used to be a much more evolved state of affairs than band directing. I think it was substantially more process oriented. I think exercise programs, some exercise programs are written for the purpose of actually building skill sets. And I think that a lot of times that was much more developed than the doing what we've always done kind of world of band directing. I blanked out on the question.
Well, people percussionists that don't want to do band.
Yeah, well, I would encourage it. I think it's helpful. I think from a balance standpoint, I think from a lot of tonal things that we don't typically get to deal with in percussion world, you definitely don't think about it. I know I processed, percussion ensemble as notes and rhythms, and there's a lot more to it than that. I think maybe my strongest suit at the end was more of a balance and blend thing. It was certainly more of a balance and blend musicality than it was like a technique and execution if I had to pick a side. And I think that you can get a lot of that from band directing or being around good band directors and actually paying attention to that stuff. So if you don't want to do it, like I said before, I mean, don't do stuff you don't want to do, but I don't think it's the end of the world if you have to do that. And I would probably encourage it. You might like it, man. I mean, Mike Howard turned out all right, and there's been a bunch of people that go both ways on that.
Right? Yeah. I know it's been a while since you've probably set foot in a college or university class as a student. What classes or lessons do you think need to be taught in colleges or universities that aren't being taught currently as it pertains to percussion or band directing or whatever?
I think the amazing lack of like rehearsal technique. I think that's a really strange thing that's missing. I also understand that it's a really difficult thing to teach. I think some colleges make, I can only speak from my experience, which was okay in some regards. But again, I think most of my education came from the community I was in, much more so than the courses that I took. But paying attention to rehearsing, actually understanding dynamics of people, which is, I guess, more of like it's not child psychology necessarily, but just more real world situations, as much as I still adore listening to Gregorian chants and can still identify fine points of all of them.
Yeah.
Man, I spent a lot of time doing stuff that I don't find was very useful considering I was going to be a music education major. Now, learning all of that stuff, I think is great. And I think that knowing kind of where you're coming from and all of that is very, it's the idea of a college education. But when it gets down to actually teaching, I learned a lot more being in band halls, watching people teach than I did from coursework. With that being said, I also knew going in that to do the job I wanted to do, I needed to get a sheet of paper that says I can legally do that. Right. And I didn't make any qualms about it. I knew that the whole time, and that was okay. So I played as much as I could and talked to as many people as I could, tried to watch Stansberry teach as much as I could, and, try to piece it together.
Sure. When is the last time you did the cha-cha slide?
Probably at a wedding. When's the last wedding I went to?
Honest?
God, maybe so. Did we cha-cha slide at Anna's wedding?
I don't know. Did we?
I don't remember dancing too much. We probably cha-cha slid though.
Slid? That would make sense.
Yeah.
You don't think you're a good dancer, right?
I'm not a good dancer.
But I seem to remember you and Grapevine were like the best dancers in our crew.
There was a time where I enjoyed dancing a lot and did dance a lot.
You did, both of y'all.
Yep. Very often. And then for some reason, I hit a no dancing streak. And I remember specifically the moment I figured out that I couldn't dance. I was at a wedding in Mexico.
Oh.
And Crazy in Love came on at Carlos and Charlie's or something like that.
Yes, Senor Frog.
And had a couple drinks. Me and the missus went down to the dance floor, and I just couldn't do it anymore.
What?
Yep. I can't.
I think there are pills for that.
I need to look into that.
Yeah, wow. Because I remember one Brian Ibanez saying that Paul Pape could groove to a rest.
Oh.
Something to that effect.
I don't remember that. But.
Well, I remember the things that don't matter. If there was a SWT Jeopardy, you're looking at your champion right now. What item would you die to get your hands on if it went up for auction?
Ooh.
You're right. That is a good question.
That is a good question. Well, money's no object in this, I'm assuming.
Well, no.
And
never
there's
is.
There's a lot of artwork that I'm pretty interested in. There's also a lot of really nice old Volkswagen Beetles that I'm really interested in.
You did have a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah, I will have another one at some point. I'm not sure when. I don't know, man. I don't know if there's one specific thing. Yeah.
Great.
I'll have to think of it. It's one that I should have pre-screened that question.
Well, if you would listen to any of the other episodes.
These are all the same questions from all the other ones?
I pick and choose. Some of them I don't ask.
Okay.
And some of them I get bored. So I'm like, I change my questions.
Yeah, I feel like I need a good answer for that just in general. I'll text you.
Great. Paul Pape, what's your worst habit?
My worst habit used to be smoking.
Oh, you don't smoke anymore?
Nope.
That's true.
My worst habit. Man, I'm awfully opinionated.
I was going to use the S word, but,
What is that?
Stubborn.
Pretty stubborn, yeah.
I mean, we all are in some respects, but I think every one of us has gotten into a discussion where you've been very passionate about your opinion, and you're just like, no, like, blah, blah. And it's just
yeah.
It's like, okay, Paul, that's fine.
I have. I think I'm better than I used to be at that.
Maybe we just stop talking about things that are gonna. I mean, for the most part, we all agree about certain things, but every once in a while, we're hit on something where you're like, no, this is the way. It's like, oh, geez, Paul doesn't like my point of view on this.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But hey, at least you know. right?
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
I actually, yes, I make a concerted effort on that.
Do you have a motto, a life's motto?
No, not to be like summed up in a sentence. I don't want to, I mean, you got one shot at this thing. And so I try to make it,
Like Eminem.
yeah, I guess it is like Eminem. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, there's trying to see as much and do as much and experience as much as possible. I'm trying not to waste any time, trying to avoid regrets.
No regrets, as they say.
Yeah.
What, if anything, would you do differently as a young teacher?
I probably would have just, there was a lot to complain about in my first job, and I got wrapped up in that world. I think there was a lot of people on staff that were frustrated with whatever they were frustrated with, right?
Right.
Which was kind of my first lesson in, quit bitching about it and do your job or make a change or do whatever you need to do, or don't waste your time complaining about that stuff. And so I think that's probably what I would have done differently. I learned a lot, there's a lot to be said for learning from that experience of seeing people that were substantially older than you, substantially less happier than you doing that stuff. And so I think all of that influenced, a lot of the decisions I made, but probably just not get wrapped up in it and just take it one step at a time, try to get good at the little stuff.
Those are all great mottos you could have used. Do you miss anything about music education?
I do. I miss the end of the process. Yeah. I miss, Alamo Dome shows, and I miss, finals lot warm-ups, and I miss actual percussion ensemble concerts. I do miss listening to kids play at a really high level. All of those things that's from like the musical side of things. I certainly miss those, but I really do not miss the process. And I started to not enjoy the process at all, which was, I like the very beginning of it. It was very exciting. And I like the very end of it, but there's that other like 95%.
Yeah, it's a drag.
But the biggest thing I miss for sure is the community of people in that world. And it's just a very, unbeknownst to me, very, those people only exist in that world, right? So outside of this music education world, oddly enough, you don't get people with mentality of music educators, which is nice from a whole slew of standpoints. But I do miss, I miss being around those people. It's very inspirational and appreciation for arts and all that good stuff. You don't see that every day.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Any final words of wisdom or caution to all the future and or current music educators out there?
It's another one I should have a good answer for, probably. I hope you're enjoying what you're doing, and if you're not enjoying what you're doing for a whole number of reasons, quit doing that thing. And I don't mean quit in the sense of quit and change professions, but make a change in what you're doing. Early in my career, I decided I was going to quit bitching about me not liking the job, and then when I started complaining later, I ended up not doing it anymore because I wasn't going to be happy doing it anymore. So don't reinvent the wheel. It'll save you a lot of frustration. And if you don't like it, change it.
Yeah. So what's next for Paul Pape?
That's a good question. Hopefully a lot of traveling.
You travel a lot now.
Try to,
Way more than you ever did as a band director.
You know what? Sure. Yeah, I had bigger chunks of time off, though, back in the day, which was which afforded opportunities to go different places. But yeah, lots to see and do. I have a long list of experiences and places and foods, and
the list is long and distinguished.
And I'm trying to check everything off as soon as I can.
Is there anything you want to plug, Paul?
Do I want to plug? No, I have nothing.
SoundCloud.
No, my Napster. Come see my Christmas lights. They look great.
Paul and I live in kind of the same neighborhood. He's gunning for Yard of the Month. Is that what it is? Or Christmas Festival?
It's the Christmas decoration trophy.
That's what it is.
See, this is what my life's become. No more competition, so I just have 4 light up reindeer in my yard.
And how many times have you won this award?
I think 3.
3? I thought you've only won it twice.
I think 3.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just put up inflatables. They're really easy. You just plug them in, and
it looks great though. It looks wonderful.
I think they look great also. Paul Pape, it's been a pleasure to have you here today. You're an absolute delight. We shall see if the Vandegrift curse will have its way with you this year in fantasy football.
Never going to happen.
This episode of Sketchbook Podcast is hosted by, edited by, and produced by me, Daniel Montoya Jr. in Austin, Texas. Our logo is created by John Suh of Purpose Designs, and our music is provided by Epidemic Sound. You can rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts, and you might find your review featured on a future episode. Got questions, comments, suggestions, or concerns? Email us at sketchbookpodcast@gmail.com. It too could be featured on a future episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at SketchbookPod. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Sketchbook Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Anchor, or wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. Thanks for listening. And as always, you don't have to clap.
Okay, got it.
Oh, you don't even have to talk. Okay, here we go.